So hello. I will talk today about our story, how we ended up being a fully remote company, established in Estonia, now with people from 30 different countries. Can I have a show of hands who is at this moment is working in a remote company? Yeah, it's 5%, I guess. Yeah, still some people, it's good to see. I hope you like it, because I'm a big fan of remote work. Now, this is our company, this is our team. We have almost 100 people from 30 different countries. This is a recent picture. We have people mostly concentrated in Europe, but we also do have people from the US, Canada, Brazil, Uruguay, Asia Pacific, Australia, and so on. So and it's working out. Yeah, it's we have been doing this now for 4 years. At that time, the team has grown from 20 people now to almost 100. Originally, we were an Estonian company only with Estonians. Now we have only a bit more than 10% of all team members are from Estonia. So yeah, this is how the work goes. So I look back why we started out as a remote company. What was the main driver? It was 4.5 years or 5 years ago. We had a situation where it was almost impossible to hire developers in Tallinn. Back then we were like very monocultural. We were only Estonians, only in the one office in Tallinn, and most of the people were from the same university. So it was more quite like interesting dissonance that we had a global product, but a very local team. And I remember one case we were trying to hire a front-end developer. It took us like 6 months of getting a candidate who actually we could hire, and in 2 months we had to fire the guy because he was no good. So back then it was like what the fuck moment that there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way to build a team, because looking like in 2013, looking into the future, you could see that the number of people actually graduating from universities will decrease. The number of startups in Estonia will increase, and so it means that the hiring will not get any easier. It will only get harder. So we had back then we have 3 options. We had one option was to set up an office somewhere else. Then another option was to bring people to Tallinn to live and work here. And the third option was to go remote. Then I guess back then I asked like everybody in the startup scene that what would they recommend to do and what is their experience. And I guess that the biggest chunk of companies and teams, they are doing the number 2 thing. They bring people into Estonia. Also, quite many companies have set up offices outside of Estonia, also outside of Europe. So I asked one startup guy who they had an office in US. I asked him, okay, what does it feel to set up an office in the US? And he said that it feels like if you take $1 million in cash and you put it into fire. So I like that metaphor, but I did not like the process of doing that. So obviously, yeah, if you want to set up an office elsewhere, it's quite expensive. Some of the founders have to actually relocate to live there. And for us, being a bootstrap company, trying to be capital efficient, it felt like that it's too much of a hassle and too expensive. So and then if you set up an office in Prague or in Lisbon or in New York, you're still limited to the people who are living there. So it's still not a scalable solution; it's a local solution. So the second one, bring people to Tallinn. It's possible. I know that many companies do it, and there are like thousands and thousands of people who have relocated, but still, given our climate, like the general infrastructure, society, it's, I guess that especially if people have families, the subset of potential hires who actually are willing to relocate to Estonia is quite small. So it also felt that it's not like a long-term solution. So we thought that, okay, maybe we can try going remote. I asked also a lot of different startup people, everybody advised not doing it because it wouldn't work out. But I knew that the company who is building WordPress, Automatic, they are fully remote. Back then also there was 37 Signals, who is doing the Basecamp software, they were fully remote. And also GitHub was, I don't know if they are now, but they were also fully remote company back then. So there were good examples that it's possible. So that's why we decided that let's try it, because going remote is also a thing that you can try out with only a few people, and then if it works, then you can scale it up. So basically what we did, we set up a landing page that we marketed the way we market the product, content marketing, SEO throughout our own channels. And from this landing page, we did a simple funnel, how to apply to Toggl through simple tests. And it started working immediately. We straight up in first month, we got candidates, hundreds of candidates from all over the world. We hired the first guy from Spain, then we hired from Poland, then from Slovakia, then from US. And suddenly, in 2 months, we had like 5 people already who were not Estonians. And then it was like a big aha moment that it could work. Of course, it was not a simple thing to do. It also meant that it's a big, deep cultural change in the company. So, like 6 months ago, we were only Estonians in the same office, speaking Estonian language, and now we were like already we had like people from 5 different time zones. So it meant that the company had to change in a big way. So basically, we started out in a way that we locked up the office for a week, and we said that you can't come to the office, and try to work remotely. So even so, for the local people to get the understanding that how does it work. And it was interesting that we had 2 very skeptical guys, 2 very skeptical developers who said that fuck, this is not going to work. But after only spending a week out of the office, they both were total converts of remote work. It was amazing how fast like hate turned into love. So the biggest change that from the office to the remote is synchronous communication to asynchronous communication. Especially if you have people in different time zones, it's very hard to like call up immediate meeting. It's very hard to set up like these water cooler chats. It's hard. So you need to adapt to the asynchronous communication. So it means that communication does not happen most of the times. 90% of the times it's not happening in real time. Also, a lot less verbal, a lot more written communication. And in our case, we needed to convert also from Estonian language to English, but I guess nowadays it's a non-issue. And when we started out, what helped us immensely was that our first like 6 months or so, we only hired people who had previous remote experience, so they could teach us. So we didn't have to teach them. The main thing I like about remote hiring is that when I tell people, like fellow startuppers, that we were looking for a backend developer, we had 2,000 candidates, nobody believes me that I'm bullshitting. But it's like a paradigm shift. Before that, hiring was like by a wide margin was #1 problem. Now hiring for us is number 10, maybe number 20 problem. It's actually hiring for us is now the most predictable funnel that we have in a company. We know that we need a mobile developer, and we know that in 2 months we have a good mobile developer. It's because the world population is huge, and the numbers that you get is it's crazy. And the good thing now is that having this total amount of candidates enables you not only hire for skill, but you can also hire for culture fit, communication skills, personal likeness, whatever. So you can be quite like picky about candidates. What else I like about remote work? So as you see that the team is basically it's covering all the time zones. So 5 days a week, Toggl is a 24-hour team. For example, it's very good for giving support or handling quick bug fixes or doing like incremental software updates. There's always somebody who is online and they don't need to do shift works. This is what I like a lot. Of course, it has its own, there are a lot of problems with time zone differences. For example, if you have people in Australia in one team, from Australia, from the West Coast and from Europe, then it's very hard to make like a team meeting. Then somebody has to attend the meeting at midnight. What else I like? I like the diversity. Diversity is, I feel that it's an important thing, and it has helped us to make a better product. Having people from Asia, from South America, even from Africa, it widens your perspectives immensely. Yes, and of course, devil is in the details. I'm running out of time. It's not a walk in a park to change the company culture. There are many pitfalls, many small details. We have compiled a small landing page about case studies of different companies have done, have built up their remote culture. Also, I recommend to read books. 37 Signals has a great book. Also, there's a great book about WordPress. So if you search in the internet, yeah, definitely I recommend to read books. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Don't be afraid.
No,
I won't
I'm not afraid.
bite you. Okay, personal question. How many days, you know, I see those posts on Facebook where fellow startuppers say like, yeah, this is my 100th day in air, flying from one place to another. So how many days have you been this year? In 2018, how many days you were flying somewhere?
Yes, we do have a lot of meetups, so we try to make sure that everybody in the company gets to meet other people at least 4 times a year. So we have different meetups in different cities. I don't have to attend them, but I want to, so I have maybe 6, 7 company-related trips per year, so it's not 50.
Awesome! Oh, thank you. Thank you. You give hope for humanity. Really, because
and let's not talk about commute. Mm-hmm. People living in London, like working for us, they are like, before I had to commute 2 hours a day.
Indeed. So okay, say one really strong statement to those who are skeptical about remote work.
Remote work, in 10 years, maybe in 15 years, it's the main way of working.
Yeah.
So get on the train while you can.
Thank you, Alari. Awesome.
Thank you.